Tigers, Bulldogs, Saints. Welcome to DC Blitz, presented by DeKalb County Insurance.
Good morning to you from DeKalb County Insurance on the public square, downtown Smithville, DC Blitz. I'm looking for the camera over here, and it's not there. It's over here, so I'm never looking at the camera anyway. Tom Duggan for the Blitz, alongside Kelly, Coach, and Grant James with us this morning with Harrison. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Can you say good morning?
All right. Harrison was just telling us all about singing Morgan Wallen a few minutes ago with doing his karaoke. We might have to break that out one day when we come back and have a little. We all love karaoke. Right?
That's right. He sounds a little bit like his daddy, but doesn't cuss around his mama. I think that's a good lyric for Morgan Wallen that he goes by. Yeah.
Oh me. Well, some of us may be a little bleary-eyed this morning. Who stayed up and watched the fight, if you want to call it that?
Raise your hand. So we watched the fight last night, didn't we?
Okay. I stayed up 4.5 hours. I'll never get back, but you two are the lucky ones that didn't.
I didn't even know there was a fight.
Well, Grant, you watched it. So Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, and I know we don't get a lot into national stuff or so many talking heads, but we're going to because this is this was something I think, even if you weren't a fan of boxing, a lot of people just wanted to watch Mike Tyson and see what happened. But were you disappointed? What was your thoughts?
A little bit. I don't know a ton about boxing. I'll be the first to admit that. But when it's something like that, somebody like Mike Tyson with the success he had in the past, I was like, we have to sit down and watch this just a little bit.
Sure.
And he came out that first 30 seconds of the first 2-minute round that he showed how he really liked to attack like he used to. But then after about 30 seconds, he was done for, it seemed like. You could tell his energy levels were very low, but I guess he's, 59?
58.
58, yeah. I don't know why he chose to do this, but I guess there's money talking. Oh, yeah. Y'all beat me to it. Yeah, there's money talking, and he still has that mentality. I guess the boxing mentality never leaves you, and it was fun to watch for just a little bit.
I thought after the second round it was over. If he was going to win, he had to do it early, and after 2 rounds, he was done. I mean, Father Time is undefeated, as they say, and for the most part, and I love boxing. I've been a boxing fan my entire life, and so I wanted to see it, but in my mind, it was just an event.
Very much
This was not a fight. This was an event. There was a lot of money involved. I love Mike Tyson, but he's not been the most responsible individual with money. If somebody walks up and says, "Hey, Mike, I'll give you $20 million. Let's go out here and make a show out of this," he's not going to say no. I'm sorry. At this point in his life, he's not going to say no. And I'm not going to say it was entirely rigged or anything like that. But to me, it was a show, and to me also, it was sad. It was just sad to see him, the kid Dynamite that I remember from 87, 88, 89. He was just so amazing. Long gone.
Oh, yeah,
just
absolutely.
Long gone. So.
Unfortunately, it was the most successful event that's happening in Cowboy Stadium all year, actually, in Jerry's world. My Dallas Cowboys are... they're in the same group as the Tennessee Titans this year, unfortunately.
Tom, thank you. Elaborate. He's going to give you the mic the rest of this segment to keep talking bad about
that's
the Cowboys.
right. Yeah, Jerry Jones came on and was all happy, and one of the commentators looked like Jalen Hurts, the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he was all happy. And I'm like, well, he's used to being happy in this stadium, beating the Cowboys. So we got a few jabs against my Cowboys last night, but it was cool. Like you said, it was more of an entertainment thing.
Yeah,
that's the intrigue of this Tyson fight. Our generation, and I know my generation's a little bit above yours, but we remember the Tyson, the bad man. And my son, Connor, he's like, "Who do you think? Who do you think?" And I said, "Man, I don't know, but Tyson was a bad dude."
Yeah,
and I think we wanted to see a flash of that, and maybe the first 30 seconds was the flash.
Yeah,
but I think we all hoped for that. Yeah, we're going to show this young whippersnapper, whatever, that what boxing is. And unfortunately, I would have liked to have watched it. We dropped Netflix, but apparently I didn't miss anything.
Absolutely not. I mean, the 2 fights before it were fantastic. The Serrano-Katie Taylor fight was amazing. And this was the second time those two ladies had met for the championship. And there was some headbutting in there. Serrano got her eye dinged up pretty bad. But, man, they were just throwing haymakers for pretty much the entire 10 rounds of that fight. It was great. It was the best. They should have put it at the end because it was the best fight of the night. But I look at this. I look at Jake Paul, and, you see all this brash and arrogance. And I'm telling you, it's like WWE. I think there's a lot of show there. This kid is smart.
Yep.
In the fact, he knows how to promote and make money. And look at Muhammad Ali and all the years that he talked the talk and, led up to every fight, just talking smack. And, he would go out and back it up. Don't get me wrong. But he knew how to promote a fight. Jake Paul knows how to promote a fight. He knows how to make money. He is not a boxer. He's gotten better.
Yep.
But put him in there with Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, any of the top heavyweights, he would get destroyed.
Oh, absolutely.
By somebody like that. But something it kind of reminded me of, speaking of Ali, and Ali was Mike Tyson's hero growing up. Ali came back in 1980 to fight Larry Holmes when Holmes was champion, and Ali was 38 years old. And watching Tyson last night reminded me of watching Ali in that fight in 1980. There was nothing there. It was over. I mean, came out around 2 rounds, showed what he had, and it was over. And again, I go back. Father Time is undefeated. And it was a fun build up, all the smack talk. I enjoyed the promotion and the show part of it, but as far as the fight goes, no.
Yeah, you could see how Jake Paul, like you said, talking about he's very good about promoting himself, but he showed respect to Tyson at the end of that fight, and I thought that was pretty classy from someone Jake Paul. You don't usually say he's a very classy guy, but in that instance, he was. I think he showed that Tyson deserves respect for what he did in the boxing ring in the past, and that was pretty cool to see.
I'll tell you how much Kelly knows about Tyson. She said, I remember him because he bit somebody's ear.
I was using him as an example to a kid the other day on how
did that work? Did it?
It kind of got through to him because he was like, I made the example. I said, Mike Tyson won all these fights. I said, but nobody remembers him but for biting somebody's ear. And I said, people are only going to remember you for the bad decisions that you make. And I was, trying to give it a good example to this high school student of how if you make a bad decision, that might be all that people remember of you. And so
consider it fortunate that he didn't bite some kid's ear after you told him that because he thought, I'll be remembered for biting somebody's ear.
I'll have to explain to Harrison here in a little bit what happened in that fight back in the day.
But anyway, Grant, it's good to be back here at DeKalb County Insurance, of course, our presenting sponsor here of DC Blitz. And what's going on up at DCI these days?
Well, it is from October 15th through to December 7th. It is Medicare open enrollment, and we started assisting with Medicare a few years ago. Not a whole lot of people in DeKalb County advising on Medicare, and we just thought that was a market that we really needed to branch into. And I mean, if it's best for them to go like a Medicare Advantage route, you can buy a premium free. So selling a free product is a lot different than trying to sell Coach an auto policy or something like that. but no, the Medicare world is very complicated. So we've spent a lot of hours training and a lot of hours during this time of the year to assist people the best way possible. So we're here very early in the morning to late at night, it seems, right now. But a lot of stuff happening here and just helping out any way we can.
Well, that's awesome, man. We appreciate you. We appreciate all you all do for the community. And, you've been a big part of that since you were little as far as being involved in athletics and, of course, supporting what's going on with local athletics and supporting our show. We appreciate you so much for being a big part of what we've done from the very get-go. And just thank you for all you do for DeKalb County.
Oh, absolutely. We love to help out any way we can and support I guess I lean towards supporting the teams I played for, but like when DeKalb County Volleyball started up this year, we got asked to do a sponsorship, and I told my wife, who's a big volleyball past, has a big volleyball past, that she's like, oh, you better give a ton of money towards that. So I was like, oh, okay. So even though I don't know that much about volleyball, we try to support as much as possible.
That is fantastic, and y'all do a great work for sure. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got a very special guest. We've been talking about our Legends Series, and From time to time, we're going to be bringing in some of our local sports legends and getting their stories. And this is one we've been working on for a little bit. Coach Joey Reeder, former DeKalb County High School baseball coach, he's in the house already, and he's going to sit down with us for a couple of segments and share some of his story. Recently, the baseball field at the high school was named in honor of Coach Reeder, and I think a very well-deserved honor. All the success he had during his career there from, I believe, 82 to 82 to 96, 97. I'm going to get all that wrong, I'm sure, but he'll correct me when he gets here. But it's good to have Coach Reeder. Coach Vance, I know you got a chance to work with him some in football, and you've gotten to know him working in the DeKalb County school system. Great guy, great coach, and I'm really excited about having him here today.
Yeah, one of the first people that I met, of course, I'd dating Cheryl, before that, and spent some time in Smithville at her church. And so I got to know a few people there, but as far as getting to know someone, one of the first oldest friends that I've had from DeKalb County, and that's Joey Reeder. And I remember one of the first things he ever told me, when I pulled up, we were meeting at the high school about an interview, basically. And I pulled up in a red Jeep, and he said, "Well, that's red." and it was. It looked like a fire truck. But, he's been a very good friend of mine for a long time, and I'm very glad he's able to come here today and talk to us.
He was one of my teachers when I was in high school, Kelly. I don't know if he was one of yours, but I certainly remember Coach Reeder very well. And, of course, when I first started covering sports, he was coaching baseball and assisting in football as well, and he and Coach Cantrell, of course, with football, and just was around those guys a lot way back in the day. We'll be honored to have him coming up on the next segment. I want to get into realignment, and I don't want to talk about this now. We'll do this in the last segment, but TSSAA has announced their region realignments. For DeKalb County football, it's not going to change a lot, but where we're going to see some changes are in basketball, baseball, softball, and golf. I think those are going to be the four sports that are going to be impacted the most, and I really want to get into that. We'll wait to the last segment. Casey Midget is going to try to be with us last segment, too, so we'll get some thoughts with him on some of this region realignment. We've got another young student athlete, Cora Kilgore, committed to play with Anderson University on an academic and athletic scholarship. Cora, of course, a pitcher for the DeKalb County High School Tigerettes. Left-handed. Kelly, I know you're very versed in softball, and I don't know if you've watched Cora play, but you kind of know the collegiate softball experience, and very exciting for her. Again, not just athletic, but an academic scholarship as well, and that's really big.
Cora has earned everything she's getting. She has put in the time, and she is reaping what she has worked for. She is a very, very hard worker, and I'm super excited for her. And left-handed pitchers are a rarity.
Oh yeah,
and they're kind of like baseball. They're good. They have a crazy spin that most batters are right-handed, so they can put a lot of movement on a ball that messes with right-handers. So
we wish her the very best.
She should have success.
She's going to be going and playing with Anderson. The Trojans, they're in the Southern Athletic Conference. They were 28-20 last year. Cora in the district tournament last year, I think she pitched in 3 games, struck out 24 batters in 15 innings. That's pretty darn impressive. She was MVP of the tournament. And, Coach, I know, you've seen student athletes move on to college. Anytime, and I'm always big on this, and this is why we like to promote the local student athletes. Anytime a kid gets a chance to go to college, we love to see it academically, but if they're gifted athletically, it just opens the door there, and here Cora is getting, based on both here, and I think she's going to do well when she gets to Anderson.
The Dallas Cowboys used to be proof of this.
We have to keep talking about that.
Yeah, we can always talk about the Cowboys, okay? Just don't go past the year 2000.
I'm leaving
No,
now.
I'm going old school with Tom Landry.
Right.
Because it seemed through the draft that the Cowboys would pick up somebody from West Texas State University, out of South Pittsburgh, whatever.
Yeah.
No name no one's ever heard of, and they're their first-round pick.
Yeah.
And turned out to be a superstar. And with softball, with girls golf, with whatever, you just realize that if you are good enough, some of these schools are going to find you.
Yep.
And if I'm not mistaken, Anderson is in South Carolina. Mm-hmm. And so a small South Carolina school where the recruitment methods of what's being used now is out there, they found Cora.
Yeah.
And this happens all the time, and it does not matter. Of course, you'd love to go D1, but it does not matter. If they're paying for your education,
There's the portal.
there it is. Hey, she can get there.
And-
This is the start.
And you have to look at this too. I understand completely where you're going. You can. I was talking about earlier. There's a little girl that I taught when I was in Smith County. Signed with UT. Is she probably going to go and pitch for UT her freshman year? No. Now she's a lefty too. She's probably going to play first. She's got a strong bat. But what I'm saying is Cora could go and spend 2 years at Anderson and then enter the portal and end up at a SEC school, mid Division I school, because you go and you get to play. Like she's going to go and probably play out of the gate. It's kind of like going to junior college now. You go and you play out of the gate and you get 2 years experience. I know Arkansas's pitcher last year, she came from, one of them came from Southern Miss, and the little girl from Alabama that pitched and ended up winning she came from Arkansas State or whatever. She'd been there 3 years, but she entered the portal and Alabama picked her up. She ended up being their ace. Same thing for, people are entering this portal and they're moving up. I mean,
Yep.
And that is a good thing about, I will say, for softball, but it is frustrating as a fan because you never know what your team's going to look like from year to year.
That's true.
It's turned into like travel softball in college. You don't know where your team's going to look like.
Well, it's kind of getting like that in all the sports collegiately because of the portal and so many kids going into it. I look at college basketball, sport that I've always dearly loved, and your team who's on your team this year may not be on your team next year, and then most likely there's going to be a lot of roster turnover just based on what we're getting with the transfer portal. But whatever Cora can accomplish, we wish her the best, and we're working on lining her up to have her on the Blitz next week to talk about her career at DeKalb and what she's looking forward to at Anderson University. Coach Reader's waiting in the wings. We're going to go to break here in a second. Before we do, Grant, I know you and Harrison are all fired up about Tennessee and Georgia coming up tonight.
That's right.
This is one of the biggest games Tennessee's had in quite a while because they win. They're probably, unless they lose to Vandy, which could happen, they're probably solidified into the first ever college football playoff. But Nico's going to play, they're saying.
Yeah.
We don't know if he'll show any effects from concussion-like symptoms, but how are you?
Go, Dad. Just
I got to go into dad mode just for a second. Hey, we're almost done, okay? Almost done.
He's about done, yeah. Harrison's done.
We are very excited for this ball game tonight. Like you said, Nico was a little banged up in concussion protocol, but Tennessee's defense has kept them in games all year long. And it's funny, we can't diss on Vanderbilt too much. Chad Kirby may have something to say about that. But, Alabama lost to Vanderbilt, and they're still talking about Alabama getting in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
So it's one of those things. We beat Georgia. I hope we don't lose to Vanderbilt, but we'll see what happens.
Alabama could be 5-5, and they'd be projecting the playoffs most likely. But ought to be an interesting game. Kickoff 6:30. Tennessee at Georgia tonight. All right, when we come back, we're going to have Coach Joey Reeder join us. Got a couple of new sponsors on the program today. Want to say welcome to Farmhouse Realty. Josh and Melissa Miller joining our roster of sponsors. We appreciate having them on board. And Kilgore's Restaurant. We mentioned Cora Kilgore. Well, her parents has got one of the finest restaurants you'll find in DeKalb County. And with the number of years that Kilgore's has been in business, you know they are doing something right. They've got a meat and three, great plate lunch every day, but they've got a menu chock full of great items. Stop by Kilgore's. They're open Monday through Friday. You can call them up on the menu line and order ahead of time, 215-8249. And tell you what, the best chicken you're going to find anywhere in DeKalb County, but they have steaks. They have their food is awesome. And I tell you some things that I really love. The Cajun Grill Catfish, one of my very favorite things that they have there. But the fried squash, I got to mention that too. I'm getting hungry. I think I'll have to open for breakfast, but we'll have an ad for them produced next week. But we do want to talk about Kilgore's and say thanks to John and Jenda and all their staff. They do a wonderful job. They've been a part of DeKalb County, not just as a business, but as proud supporters of DeKalb County Athletics for many, many years now. We appreciate all of them. They're at Kilgore's. They're located at the corner of Highway 70 and Highway 83 on the west end of Smithville. Coach Joey Reeder when we come back to DC Blitz, presented by DeKalb County Insurance.
Teamwork, accountability, honesty, showing respect, dependability. These are all qualities that I began learning as an athlete growing up in DeKalb County. Hi, this is Tennessee assistant golf coach Payne Denman. Whenever you're looking for a teammate that has your back, look no farther than my friend Grant James and the team at DeKalb County Insurance. They can help out with all your business, auto, home, life, or Medicare insurance needs. Give them a call today at 615-597-0660 or visit them at www.dekabinsurance.net. Tell them I sent you, and as always, go Vols.
When closing on a new home or piece of property, you want the process to be as smooth as possible. For almost 20 years, DeKalb Title LLC has been helping new property owners in Smithville and DeKalb County through that process promptly and efficiently. As your trusted title expert and closing company, they believe buying or selling real estate should be a joyous occasion, and their team does everything possible to keep it that way. DeKalb Title works to make sure your transaction gets to the closing table and your new property is secure for years to come. Let DeKalb Title help you close and protect your residential, commercial, or new construction transaction today. Call 615-597-2303 or visit them online at DeKalbTitle.com.
As first-time home buyers, navigating the real estate market can be both exciting and daunting. At Farmhouse Realty, we understand your unique needs and are dedicated to guiding you through the process with ease. With our extensive knowledge of DeKalb County and its surrounding areas, we can help you find your dream home or sell your existing property at the best possible price. Farmhouse Realty is committed to understanding your financial situation and goals, finding the perfect home that aligns with your lifestyle, negotiating the best terms for your purchase or sale, and being there for you every step of the way. Give us a call today at 615-597-FARM. That's 615-597-3276, or check out our listings at farmhouserealty.org. Farmhouse Realty. Let us help you achieve your real estate dreams.
Hey, Sam!
Who said that? Cheryl? What are you doing up there?
My bank always leaves me up in the air. I'm still waiting for an answer. Oh, darn birds.
Well, switch to First Bank. They have fast local decision makers and the latest banking products and digital.
Whew, what a relief. I'll call First Bank. When I was up there, I saw a branch near me.
First Bank never leaves you hanging. Bank local. Get more. Member FDIC.
Prompt, professional, and courteous healthcare services. That's what you find when you visit Good Health Family Clinic, 414 East Broad Street in Smithville. When you're on the go, you can't afford to be sick. The staff at Good Health Family Clinic is committed to getting you back on your feet and feeling better as soon as possible. They are locally owned, so you know you're being helped by people from right here at home, who you know and trust. Good Health Family Clinic accepts most insurances and is currently accepting new patients. Call to schedule an appointment, 615-597-4432. Good Health Family Clinic. Your family's good health is our mission.
Impact Physical Therapy is a direct access, cash pay physical therapy clinic, which means your care is provided one-on-one by a doctor of physical therapy, tailored to you and your needs. Whether it be injury, performance, or generalized health improvements, a plan is developed to improve your overall health, mobility, and strength safely and without injury. Another benefit of direct access is if injury does occur, you can immediately seek out care for an evaluation and treatment, potentially that day or the next day, without having to wait for a doctor appointment. Impact Physical Therapy, located at 656 West Broad Street in Smithville, inside Vitality Fit. For an appointment, call or text 615-464-7479.
Do you ever get tired of long waits at the corporate pharmacy? Well, let me introduce you to your hometown hero, Johnny's Drugs, located at 516 West Main Street in Smithville. Johnny's Drugs is all about friendly service and efficiency. Our team knows your name and understands your needs because we're not just a pharmacy, we're your neighbors. Experience the warm, welcoming atmosphere that only a hometown pharmacy can provide. Johnny's Drugs, where friendly faces and efficient hometown service come together.
At Love-Cantrell Funeral Home, we understand that this life is a journey filled with highs and lows. Just as every game has its final whistle, so too does every life have its final moment. When that time comes, Love-Cantrell Funeral Home would love the opportunity to earn your trust. We provide compassionate care and professional services to fit your family's financial needs. Whether you're celebrating a life well lived or finding comfort in the time of sudden loss, we're here to support you every step of the way. Love-Cantrell Funeral Home has been a proud sponsor of all DeKalb County athletics for over 65 years. Love-Cantrell Funeral Home, where love is not only in our name, but also in our services.
Ranger brake offers made in the USA, assembled in the USA, and world-sourced brake lines so that they can meet all levels of market demand. That helps them maintain a good, better, and best approach to giving customers the options they need to succeed with ease. Ranger Brake has a second-to-none qualifying process which ensures each and every product is certified before it's actually sold in the USA. By providing qualified products that are tested in the USA, Ranger Brake is doing their part to keep it safe out on the roads. Ranger Brake, proud supporters of all DeKalb County athletics.
Smithville FBC is proud to support DC Blitz and all DeKalb sports. We have a place for you to call home on Sunday mornings and Wednesday night. We have nursery available. Pre-K through 5th graders are welcome to join Faith Kids. 6th through 12th graders are welcome to join FBC students, and everyone's outside of that is welcome to join all of our adult ministries. We meet Wednesday nights at 6, and Sunday morning small groups begin at 9 with worship at 10. Join us at Smithville FBC. It's a place to call home.
When it's time to attack those outdoor landscaping projects, you want to go into battle with the tools that will help you get the job done right the first time. After all, your time is precious. When you're ready to go on the offensive, let Southern Landscape Supply get you armed with the best landscaping tools on the market. Southern Landscape Supply is the home of Bad Boy mowers, tractors, UTVs, and handheld tools. Bad Boy, with their legendary reputation for strength, performance, and value. Hustler mowers, DeWalt, Red Max, and Echo handheld power tools, specialty turf equipment, and more. Plus, they offer the best parts and second-to-none customer service. Ready to attack your landscaping project? Prepare yourself with the best tools at the best value. Visit Southern Landscape Supply, 611 Rich Froning Way in Cookeville, or online at thesouthernlandscapesupply.com.
We're back on DC Blitz, presented by DeKalb County Insurance as part of our Legends series that we are beginning here on the Blitz. And again, as we've talked before, we're hoping to turn that something into bigger with some plans that are still being worked on. But we want to bring in folks from DeKalb County, former coaches, players that have had a huge impact on sports. And when you talk DeKalb County baseball, you don't talk about it without talking about Coach Joey Reeder. Coach Reeder, good morning, and thank you for being here with us today.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Well, it's really an honor. And the first thing I want to talk about, they recently named the baseball field at DeKalb County High School in your honor. How did that process go about? And when they approached you with it, kind of what was your thoughts about it?
I hadn't been approached. I knew nothing about it.
So I just did it without.
I had no idea. I was as surprised that night as anyone. Of course, they really hadn't done it yet. They're going to do it in the spring, but the school board voted to do it, and I hadn't no idea anything was even being talked about or thought about. And I noticed something strange on the board agenda, something about athletic facilities, and I didn't really think nothing about it.
Yeah.
So I walked in that night, and all of a sudden they popped it up on the screen, and I was shocked.
Yeah. How does it feel knowing that the work you've done, and I know it's been a few years since you've coached baseball, but you really laid a lot of ground. And I know the program was around, but people remember the Coach Reeder era. To be thought of in such high regard, how does that make you feel?
Well, it makes you feel good. It was a good time, and we had a lot of really good teams, and it was 16 years that we were pretty successful and fortunate to have a lot of really good players and work for a lot of good administrators and work with a lot of good people, and it was just a real good time of life. And I was young, probably too young. Shouldn't have been doing what I was doing at the age I was doing, but it worked out okay, and it's just a tremendous honor after all these years.
Let's go back to 1982 when your first year as coach. How did it come about you taking the baseball job? And for people that may not know much about the baseball program prior to that, kind of what was going on in DeKalb County baseball at that time?
Well, they'd had baseball a few years and had some pretty good teams, not anything consistent. And I graduated from MTSU in the spring of '81, and Coach Mike DeRosset, who was a football coach and was coaching baseball, took another job, and I applied and got interviewed, and there's really no lie to tell. When I started, I was hired as an assistant football coach, and baseball basically went with it.
Yeah.
I was at that time I made more for being an assistant football coach than I did for being a baseball coach. But fortunately, it was a time where we had a real good bunch of players, and fortunately had a guy moved in here from Texas that Steve Sonnyberger, and moved to Alexandria and was a senior, and he made a huge difference and went on and played at Middle and broke a lot of records over there, and got drafted and bounced around with the Orioles organization for a few years. But it was just we fell into really, and we were pretty good early, and and had a pretty good run the first few years. So slowly it evolved, and baseball got to be more important, I think. And it's like anything else. Once you start winning, people in DeKalb County, they're coming.
Yeah.
If you don't win, they ain't coming.
Well, that first team you won the district championship. In fact, I think you won 8 in a row. Your first 8 seasons, 8 district championships in a row. You talk about a good run of players, but as you won more and more, did that create more interest, I guess, and more athletes wanting to come out to play baseball?
Well, I think so. I mean, we had most years we kept anywhere from 18 to 20 players, and we would have 50 or 60 kids come out every year. And and that was back when, our little league was really good for a long time.
Oh yeah.
We had a lot of really good coaches in our youth leagues, Little League and Babe Ruth, and to me, that's a big difference I see from now to then. And, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings but soccer's really hurt baseball, not just in DeKalb County, but throughout all this area. I've talked to, a lot of guys I used to coach with, and everybody's having the same problem. It's just a fact of life that, old people like me is not, where I'm not a great soccer fan. I got a granddaughter that plays, and I do know just a little about it. But it's made an impact on baseball around here.
Coach Joey Reeder, our guest here on DC Blitz, and y'all get in here because I'm gonna ask all these questions, and I know I'll steal Coach's thunder.
When y'all first started playing, did you have the field at the high school, or did y'all play at Joel Evans?
We played behind the elementary school.
Oh wow!
At the Babe Ruth field. It was George Wagner Field. And
I never even knew about that field.
A lot of people don't. It's been going a long time. I think we built the field at the high school in, 88, 89, 87. I don't know. All this. But we played over there the first few years, and it wasn't great by any means, but it was a decent place to play. We had a lot of success over there.
We had Stephen Jennings on just a few weeks ago, and you've already alluded to one memorable player that you had. Who are some others that have come through?
Well, I've been asked, everybody wants to know who's the best player you ever coached, or who's the best pitcher.
I didn't ask that.
I know you did, but I've been asked that a whole lot. And I know you've coached long enough, I ain't going out on that limb. But, a lot of you, we were just solid from top to bottom. And, really in baseball, it's true. You have pitchers and you have position players. And you got 3 or 4 of those big guys on the mound, you can make up a lot of deficiencies when it comes to hitters. But, I hate to start naming names because I'm going to leave somebody out. Of course, Randy was one of the best ones that we've ever had. And went on to play at Motlow, and then went to Cumberland and won the NAIA World Series. And I guess, one of the better stories I got about Randy, he was being recruited, and Don Roden, who was the coach at Motlow and signed him, he'd seen him play a couple of times, and he came down one day, and he asked me, he said, "What about Jenny?" He says, "Can he bunt?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "He sure can hit, though." Because, we didn't bunt a whole lot. We had too many guys could hit it out of the park to bunt. Don always kidded me about that. He said, "You were right. He could hit." But I think once he got to college, he got to be a pretty good bunter and was able to get. And I was talking about I started in 82, and of course Kelvin graduated in 83. Page, who was drafted in the 9th round by the Mets, and I mean, I wish I'd had Kelvin a little later in my career because boy, I mean, he was a tremendous talent, and I mean, it was just wild when he was here. I mean, every game he threw, it was 18, 20 scouts were here.
Wow,
Major League Baseball scouts and college scouts, and a lot of people have forgotten it. Kelvin actually signed with Middle and then was selected in the draft and went on and unfortunately had a hard time when he first went because he's 17 years old and he's away from home and never been away from home but he did okay and he played minor league ball with Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry and unfortunately injured a knee doing sliding practice and hadn't touched a bat in about 4 years.
Wow.
So, I mean, it just amazes me some of the things they do at the professional level. But that was a fun time. The bad thing about that was, we're talking pre-cell phone.
Sure.
Nobody had a cell phone. So, everybody wanted to call. They want to know what day he's pitching. And, if it was a bad weather day, they started calling, "Are you going to play?" "I don't know where we're going to play." If it doesn't rain, we're going to play. But that was a real good time. And so, we went a few years there early with a lot of really good players. And, I had a ton of kids that went on and signed and played small college, and some got there, and, it really wasn't what they thought. But I guess, to me, I remember the teams. I mean, I remember the players, but it's the group of players that made teams, and that was so special. And it's just hard to believe it's been that long.
Go through, because I know you've kept up with football and baseball, high school level. What are some of the biggest changes in high school baseball these days compared to back when you were coaching?
Oh. You sure you want to go there?
Yeah. Give me one.
Well, are you talking I thought, to me, the biggest change in athletics is the same thing as the biggest thing in education. The loss of parental support. I mean, when I was coaching, I didn't have to worry about parents. I don't know if many times that parents didn't back me on any decision I made. Of course, it's a lot easier to make decisions when you winning 20 every year than when you get your brains beat out. But, they supported you, and, kids didn't go home whining, say the coach did this, coach said. They said, well, he's the coach. You do it or go to the house. And, that's just, and that's the world in general anymore. Nobody wants to be told no anymore. And, you tell somebody no, they want to know, who can I appeal this to? And, I had the greatest bunch of parents, that there ever was. And I'm going to tell you one story I'm not going to tell you the people that was involved, but we had a kid playing shortstop. He was a sophomore, and boy, he struggled. He'd had a couple of weeks. He kicked it all over the park. And we got through one night, and of course, it takes a while to get everything put up and this one parent kept hanging around. I thought, something's up. So he come walking up. Everybody gone, me and him, and I flipped the lights off. He said, "Joey, you care if I ask you a question?" I said, "Absolutely not. I'll anytime." He said, "How long are you going to leave so-and-so out there at shortstop?" I said, "Well, unless I change my mind, he'll be there from today till he graduates." He said, "Okay, that's all I need to know." And bless his heart, he's gone now. But he was a good parent, and that's the biggest change I've seen. It's just the way society's changed. People. To me, I'm around a lot of kids, but they're not really good kids. Once I'm around most of the time nowadays, but back then everybody wanted to win.
Yeah.
Now it's about me. It's not about team, and I struggle with that.
Did you see that start to change when you were getting out?
No, really not. Of course, I got out in '97 was last year.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me, around 2005, 6 is when it was like somebody flipped a switch, and all of a sudden, it's all about me. I want to play.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, we had a discussion with my boys the other day. I said they were whining about something, and this is boys. And I said, if y'all think that I'm the one that you're going to whine to, I said, y'all got the wrong person. I said, first of all, I'm not your mama. I said, but I'm also the mama that's going to stick a Band-Aid on it and tell you to get back out there and go on. And like you're saying, that's how I was coached. And I grew up, I had Coach Bond and I had, Coach Foster. Coach Reeder was there when I was there. That's how we were coached. But these kids these days, he's so right. I got one that wants to go to the emergency room after every game. And I'm like, and it's a kid that gets to play. And I'm like, they're going to tell you can't play. And then I'm not going to be able to play you. I was like, why are you whining about everything? It's just a change in society.
It has.
I've got to ask, and you go complete denial if you want to. Okay, just give you that little warning. I've heard for years that there is a second place trophy or plaque at the bottom of Center Hill Lake.
I've heard that too.
Is there any truth to that myth, that rumor?
I don't know where it's still there now. I can tell you there was one place there. That's another one that I get asked about a lot. It was, I guess, as Tom was talking about earlier, I guess it was that 9th year. I guess the first time that we didn't win the district. And, it wasn't a good night. We was coming home, and I said something smart, I'm sure, about a second place trophy. I asked them if they really wanted this in the trophy case, and they said no. And I pulled the bus over and opened the door, and
there she went.
There she went.
I had it from good sources. I just wanted to hear the whole story
but
to
that's
it.
setting a precedent. This is not acceptable for our team.
Yes.
We want to do better, and I don't see nothing wrong with it.
I've seen trophy cases where it's 4th place in the district.
Oh yeah.
We've got that plaque up in that trophy case, and it's like, why?
Well, now I'll tell you, in girls basketball, that's probably an okay thing because Livingston and Jackson County were winning the state every year, and if you got 4th place, hey, you was just glad you was in the conversation. Trust me.
I wasn't referring to the DeKalb. I've been to enough gyms and seen enough trophy cases.
But I'm just saying,
it's like
it depends on what sport you're talking about.
Right. But exactly. That's the mindset for the guys that are coming up the next year that are going to be filling these roles to play.
Yeah.
We're not tolerating this. We're not even taking this home.
Yep. We're going to come back with another segment with Coach Reeder in a moment. If you got a few minutes, Coach,
sure.
Stick around. I know we got plenty more to talk about. But we're going to squeeze a break in here and come back and talk more about his great career as DeKalb County baseball coach. Again, part of our Legends Series here on DC Blitz. We'll be back with more DC Blitz presented by DeKalb County Insurance.
Unrivaled service and practical advice from Jeff and Grant James at DeKalb County Insurance. With auto, homeowners, life and annuities, property and liability, Medicare supplement, and business policies available. Receive seriously good insurance with great coverage and prices. DeKalb County Insurance is an independent agency that shops multiple carriers, such as Erie, Allstate, Travelers, State Auto, Progressive, and many more. Call today for a quote. DeKalb County Insurance, 615-597-0660.
When closing on a new home or piece of property, you want the process to be as smooth as possible. For almost 20 years, DeKalb Title LLC has been helping new property owners in Smithville and DeKalb County through that process promptly and efficiently. As your trusted title expert and closing company, they believe buying or selling real estate should be a joyous occasion, and their team does everything possible to keep it that way. DeKalb Title works to make sure your transaction gets to the closing table and your new property is secure for years to come. Let DeKalb Title help you close and protect your residential, commercial, or new construction transaction today. Call 615-597-2303 or visit them online at DeKalbTitle.com.
As first-time home buyers, navigating the real estate market can be both exciting and daunting. At Farmhouse Realty, we understand your unique needs and are dedicated to guiding you through the process with ease. With our extensive knowledge of DeKalb County and its surrounding areas, we can help you find your dream home or sell your existing property at the best possible price. Farmhouse Realty is committed to understanding your financial situation and goals, finding the perfect home that aligns with your lifestyle, negotiating the best terms for your purchase or sale, and being there for you every step of the way. Give us a call today at 615-597-FARM. That's 615-597-3276, or check out our listings at farmhouserealty.org. Farmhouse Realty. Let us help you achieve your real estate dreams.
There's nothing like homegrown. Around here, nothing grows better than local businesses and families. It's because starting on common ground makes things just shoot up. Just look at those neighborhoods and business districts. Around here, it's always growing season.
At First Bank, we share your hometown and your love for our community. That means you get down-to-earth local lenders who get down to business faster. First Bank. Bank local, get more. Member FDIC.
Prompt, professional, and courteous healthcare services. That's what you find when you visit Good Health Family Clinic, 414 East Broad Street in Smithville. When you're on the go, you can't afford to be sick. The staff at Good Health Family Clinic is committed to getting you back on your feet and feeling better as soon as possible. They are locally owned, so you know you're being helped by people from right here at home, who you know and trust. Good Health Family Clinic accepts most insurances and is currently accepting new patients. Call to schedule an appointment, 615-597-4432. Good Health Family Clinic. Your family's good health is our mission.
Impact Physical Therapy is a direct access, cash pay physical therapy clinic, which means your care is provided one-on-one by a doctor of physical therapy, tailored to you and your needs. Whether it be injury, performance, or generalized health improvements, a plan is developed to improve your overall health, mobility, and strength safely and without injury. Another benefit of direct access is if injury does occur, you can immediately seek out care for an evaluation and treatment, potentially that day or the next day, without having to wait for a doctor appointment. Impact Physical Therapy, located at 656 West Broad Street in Smithville, inside Vitality Fit. For an appointment, call or text 615-464-7479.
Need your medications? Johnny's Drugs has got you covered. At Johnny's Drugs, we make sure you get the prescriptions you need when you need them. No more waiting around like you do at those corporate pharmacies. Johnny's Drugs is all about friendly service and efficiency. Whether it's a quick refill or some advice on over-the-counter remedies, our knowledgeable staff is here to help you feel your best. Experience the warm, welcoming atmosphere that only a hometown pharmacy can provide. Johnny's Drugs, located at 516 West Main Street in Smithville, where friendly faces and efficient hometown service come together.
Just like the excitement of the big game, life is filled with unforgettable moments. At Love-Cantrell Funeral Home, we understand that when the final moment comes, you want to honor those moments with dignity and care. Whether you're celebrating a life well lived or finding solace in a time of grief, our compassionate staff is here to provide the support you need. Trust Love-Cantrell Funeral Home to guide you through with respect and professionalism. Love-Cantrell Funeral Home is a proud sponsor of DeKalb County Athletics through 3 generations. At Love-Cantrell Funeral Home, love is not only in our name, but also in our services.
Ranger brake offers made in the USA, assembled in the USA, and world-sourced brake lines so that they can meet all levels of market demand. That helps them maintain a good, better, and best approach to giving customers the options they need to succeed with ease. Ranger Brake has a second-to-none qualifying process which ensures each and every product is certified before it's actually sold in the USA. By providing qualified products that are tested in the USA, Ranger Brake is doing their part to keep it safe out on the roads. Ranger Brake, proud supporters of all DeKalb County athletics.
Smithville FBC is proud to support DC Blitz and all DeKalb sports. We have a place for you to call home on Sunday mornings and Wednesday night. We have nursery available. Pre-K through 5th graders are welcome to join Faith Kids. 6th through 12th graders are welcome to join FBC students, and everyone's outside of that is welcome to join all of our adult ministries. We meet Wednesday nights at 6, and Sunday morning small groups begin at 9 with worship at 10. Join us at Smithville FBC. It's a place to call home.
Bad Boy Mowers is giving back to all those that risk their lives to protect and defend our nation. Our Bad Boys of America Zero Turns for Our Heroes program is available for a limited time at Bad Boys Nationwide Dealer Network. Qualified buyers, that's veterans, active duty military, first responders, EMTs, firefighters, and law enforcement, receive up to 25% off MSRP on all Bad Boy mower models. And some really cool Bad Boy Mower swag. Find your big boy mower at Southern Landscape Supply, 611 Rich Froning Way in Cookeville. Visit them online at southernlandscapesupply.com.
We also want to say a big thanks to Kilgore's Restaurant, one of our new sponsors here on DC Blitz. Stop by anytime Monday through Friday. Get something good to eat at Kilgore's. Hey, if you're hungry for lunch, go by there. They've always got a hot bar, great meat and 2 or meat and 3. They've got their menu every day on Facebook, so all you got to do, click on the Kilgore's Restaurant page, see what they've got good to eat. Try the Monterey chicken. That's another one of my favorites. I could sit and talk about Kilgore's food all day because it's great stuff, and if you like good down-home cooking, you can't beat it. They're located at the corner of Highway 70 and Highway 83 on the west end of Smithville. Call them up at 215-8249. I guess I should put the area code since we got to dial that now too. 615-215-8249. Coach Joey Reeder in the house with us this morning. Coach, I want to go back to your last year coaching. What was it that made you get out of coaching the game of baseball at DeKalb County?
I got a new job.
That's easy enough.
The job that I currently have now opened up back then. Of course, I made a trip back to the high school for 10 or 12 years, but I'd coached 16 years and loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
But I had a daughter that probably was, eight at that time. And, I was coaching football and baseball, and I was gone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was home December, January, which was great. But, she was starting to get involved in things. And, I felt like, at that point we knew we probably wasn't going to have another one, so I thought, I'm going to look around and she's going to be grown and I'm going to miss it.
Yeah.
So, the combination of being able to go to the central office to a job and just, it wasn't one of those things, where you could do your final tour, you announce.
Sure.
Because I didn't know, the season was over before it happened, but, it's just circumstances worked out where I had a chance at a new job, and I'd coached long enough. I loved it, and had 16 years was long enough.
Check this record out in 16 years: 285 total wins, 146 losses. If you keep it track, that's a 660 winning percentage. That's overall. District, get this, 176-15 against district competition. That's a 920 winning percentage. 55-23 in the postseason. DeKalb County during Coach Reeder's tenure, 12-time district champions. That's why there's a second-place trophy at the bottom of the lake. And 2-time region champions. 12 out of the 16 years. I know Coach Vance kind of put you on the spot with players that maybe stood out. You said it's more, you remember teams more. Is there one team that maybe stands out in your memory more than any other that was really special to you?
Well, I think they're all were special, but of course, I don't know what year it was. It's Brian Hall, Will Frazier, Josh Trammell, Paul Talley.
95,
95.
I think. Yep.
We went, 32-3, I think.
Yep.
Wound up 9th in the state in all classes. And, I want to give a little disclaimer of how things have changed. Back in those days, there were 4 teams that went to the state tournament.
Yeah.
Now there are 8 teams that go to the state tournament. There were no 2 out of 3. Everything was one bad day and you went to the house.
Yep.
And we had several of those. We got beat by teams better than us a lot, but I know, I don't know what year. One year we went to McMinn Central and played in the state quarterfinals. And the Friday or the weekend before, we played on Monday. Had a kid in a car wreck. A kid got chicken pox. It was just an avalanche of things. We just went down there with like 4 starters out, and that's not an excuse. We just got beat, but got beat I don't know, I think 3 different times by the eventual state champion that we got put out. And, a couple of things we do remember. I know in '85, Warren County won the AAA championship.
Mm-hmm.
We beat them during the regular season. '87 and '89, Upperman both won the single A championship. We beat them both those years. Those were things that, stood out a little bit. But probably overall that was the best team we had was the '95 team.
When you mention teams you played, you're talking about teams that won state championships, and that was always, it seemed to be the signature of the baseball schedule was playing a tough schedule. So when you go down and you look at these records, you weren't beating up on the weak sisters of the poor, as they say. How important was it for you to schedule these tough games? Because inevitably you want to be good when the postseason rolls around.
Yeah, baseball and basketball, they're tournament sports. What you do in the regular season really doesn't matter. And we always felt like, fortunately we were good enough we could play with those people. It's easy to criticize people for schedule making, but if you're not very good, you can lose the team real quick if you're playing a hard schedule and getting your brains beat out every night. But, we were fortunate that, we could play with most people, and we didn't call anybody. If you didn't want to play, you better not pick up the phone because we'd sure play you.
Yeah.
And I hated to travel. I hate that blame bus. And, we'd go to Oakland. We'd go to Riverdale. Of course, that was the only 2 in Murfreesboro at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, we were, I had a pretty good relationship with the coach at Middle. And one year we had Marshall County scheduled over there. Another year we had Maplewood. We never got to play. It always got rained out. But, we played. We played anybody. We didn't care who you were.
Yeah.
Who were those teams consistently in your district?
It was basically us, Livingston, Smith County, Jackson County.
Cannon, were they there?
Yeah, there were some. They were in and out. Sparta was in and out.
Yeah.
At the end, Upperman came in. So, it's hard. When you look at these school enrollments now and you see where Upperman's in, it's hard to believe, 30 years ago they were Class A and, probably middle ways of Class A. They've just blown up over there population-wise. But, our district was our easy games. Livingston was always pretty good. Pat did a really good job up there, and we had a lot of battles. But York was the other one.
That's it.
Out.
Yeah.
But, we would play, and, of course, we didn't do it the way they do it now where you play the 2-game series days back to back, which I like. It's a good idea. You just schedule them out, and whenever you wanted to play, and we tried to play, we'd play Warren County. We'd play Cookville. We would open up every year, and we'd play a doubleheader one place on Monday and a doubleheader the other place on Tuesday. And, we counted them all. It wasn't, and I'd play 9 one game and 9 the next game. And, those losses are on that record. We've had some, a lot of coaches, all of a sudden that becomes a JV game and you don't count that in the loss column.
Unless you need a win.
If you won, you counted. You lost as a JV. It happens all the time. Been happening for years. But, if we walked on the field, we counted it.
Yeah,
and it didn't matter. We took some beatings too. I ain't gonna. We didn't lose a lot of games. We lost some by some large margins when you were playing those really good teams. But I can't help but believe it didn't help us in the long run, make us better.
Now, I'm going to shift gears for just a moment. I know you two coach football together, and we'll touch on a little bit of your time in coaching football. And you said basically you was hired as an assistant football coach. And I know for many years it was just you and Coach Cantrell. Nowadays you got, coaching staffs 8, 10, 12, 15 people. How hard was that, just the 2 of you coaching for those many years?
It was hard. No wonder we wasn't very good. Seriously. It's just, and, we didn't have nowhere 50 or 60 players like they do now. But, we'd have 35 or 40. And, it was just, and it wasn't just us.
Sure.
We were probably a little behind most people, but – for a lot of years, most people had 2 or 3 coaches, and Tommy helped. Tommy came along, and then Tanner came along, and Chris came along, and not all of us at one time.
Yeah,
I guess 4 is the most we probably ever had.
Yeah,
and we did okay. We didn't win. We played a lot of people close and had some good kids that worked hard. And, football's just a different animal.
I want to go back because were you the school's all-time leading rusher at one time?
No.
Okay, because I've heard this.
I held the single game rushing.
Or maybe
record.
that was it.
I did do that for a while, but I wasn't very good.
Okay.
Nothing. I've been around athletics my whole life.
Yeah.
I wasn't very good. I played really hard and I was really smart.
Yeah.
But I was little and I was slow, and that's not a good combination for any sport. But I'll have to, looking back, I worked really hard. And Chris knows, and Kelly and everybody that's coached. If some of those kids that don't have a lot of ability, they work really hard. Mm-hmm. If you had some of those kids that had the ability, would put the time and effort in, there's some of those kids that just love the game. I don't care what sport you're coaching. They just love it. They go out there and they work hard. And, a lot of times there's not the good kids with talent just aren't willing to put the time and work in. There's some of the kids who just love the game.
I remember my first year. And I told the linebackers, of course, back then, running a 4-4, and we had 4 linebackers. And I told that group of guys, I said, I wish I'd been here when y'all were freshmen. Mm-hmm. And we could have, maybe developed that just a little bit more, whatever. But, that whole class, just a ton of names, just very, very athletic kids that just out there, and they were rough. Mm-hmm. They just soon, I don't know, I can't say that. I won't say
just
that.
Go on. They just soon run over as you look at you.
That's it. They just soon run over you, walk around you. But, and it was you and Coach Cantrell, and Tommy was there, and Tanner was the middle school. And then I came aboard, and, we had 4, and that was rare for DeKalb. I came from Beach High School where there were 7 on the staff, and that was pretty typical. So it was a lot of overlapping, and I can't imagine, doing it with just 2.
Yeah, I can, and especially like I said now, where you take some of these, and I'm not even talking about some of the bigger. You look at Upperman, I think they've got 12, 13 coaches on the sideline, and even now, DeKalb County still, in comparison to even some of the schools, I guess similar in size, don't have quite as many. But to think about that, even with 35, 40 players, as you're talking about, you got 2 men, and you got so many positions. I just can't imagine how you kept up with it all.
Well, evidently we did do a lot.
but speaking back, kids were different then.
Yeah, it's true.
And you didn't have to have eyes on. We didn't have to divide and have one coach watching 5 kids. You could trust that when you told 2 of your kids to go do something, they went and did it and came right back. They weren't off climbing on top of the building and doing something they weren't supposed to. So it was a different time. I'm sure it would have helped to have had more coaches. Yeah. But I'm saying you had kids and you had parent support that when you said, little Johnny was not doing what he was supposed to, well, his daddy was going to take care of it when you got home, and you didn't really have to worry about it past that.
And Chris will tell you, football is a much more complicated game now than it's ever been. Mm-hmm. Back when we were coaching, first started coaching, most teams had 1 tight end, 1 wide receiver, and 3 backs, and they were in the power out of the wishbone. They was going to bang it up the middle 40 times a game. And you might throw 3 passes. You start at 7:30 and you through by 9 o'clock, and now they start at 7 and go to 10 because everybody's throwing it 50 times, and it's just a different game. Football's really evolved.
Changed a lot, and certainly, we've seen changes, and you talked about some of the changes you've seen in baseball on the high school level. The game as a whole, when you look at it, and even going to the professional level, do you see a lot of changes even up that far in the game of baseball from maybe back when you were younger and following it?
Oh, I think analytics has changed baseball forever.
For the better?
I didn't say that. I didn't say for the better.
Yeah, that's what I was. If you think for the better, or
I think it's got a place, but I think they've gone overboard. And of course, Randy's a big proponent of. He would like to see the professional levels shut the video off once the game starts. Mm-hmm. Anything you do before the game is off. But when you got those guys in the dugout looking at their last at bat, And pitchers have a hard time anymore. I mean, it's really helped hitters, I guess. It doesn't appear by averages, but when you know what that pitcher's going to throw or have an idea and where it's coming from, it helps a whole lot. But I think analytics has probably changed baseball more than any sport, probably forever.
It seems, though, that baseball's always still been a feel sport that, you read what's going on, and I see some of that getting lost, I think, in the professional game today, that you get more of these analytical managers, general managers, and to me, the feel just isn't the same.
I'll agree with you.
Yeah,
it's money. If they would leave it alone and let them play the game for the love of the game and take the money out of it, but
yeah,
money talks.
Pitchers don't go 9 innings. They won't. There's no complete games.
Well, 6 many times anymore.
So, well, Coach Reeder, man, it has been a joy to have you today to talk to you, to catch up, to get some of your story. And any memory that comes to mind that you want to leave us with, a good story that we can get a good laugh out of before we wrap things up today?
Well,
it's got to be something. Got to be.
I mean, there's just so many. It's hard to, let's do one. It's not a good one.
Okay.
I think sometimes, coaches are associated with good things.
Yeah.
And I had one. Let's say, I guess we were off that day. It was during the season, and I was home, and we were sitting there eating supper, and had a knock on the door, and Shelby went to the door and said, so-and-so, it was one of my players, and he come to the door, and I knew his daddy was having surgery that day.
Yeah.
And he said, Daddy didn't make it. And I thought, oh, gosh.
Oh, wow.
And he said, I still won't play tomorrow. I said, that's up to you and your mother. But, and we had, of course, it's been a long time now, but I think a lot of people remember Jerry Taylor, who was killed in an accident out by the drive-in. And I was in bed one night. It was about 10:30, and I get a call from an emergency room, and they say, we need your help. I said, why? They said, there are 200 kids out here, and we can't do anything with them.
Oh, wow.
Somebody's been, I didn't know who it was or anything. So I get in the car and go. I mean, that's two memories that, winning and losing was minor compared to having to deal with those situations. But I was here for 16 years. I loved every minute of it. There are good times and bad times. And, I lived here all my life, and I love the people of DeKalb County, and they've been good to me and my family. And I noticed you started out the show with being called a legend, and I think that's just a synonym for being old.
This week I heard a kid, 10, 12 years old, interviewing Mike Tyson, and he asked him about being a legend.
Yeah.
And that was about Mike Tyson's response to that. I'm just going to be dead. Nobody's going to remember legend, nothing. I'm just dead.
Well, I had the honor as a young guy starting out radio way back when of covering your baseball teams, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't know a thing about baseball. I'll be the first one to admit, first game I ever called, y'all played Warren County, and it was a long game, I remember that, but that's the first time I realized I didn't know a thing about baseball, not like I thought I did.
And another big advantage we always had, everybody around was jealous of the media we had. We had the Smithville Review, we had WGLA. At one time, we had the DeKalb County Star.
Yeah.
We'd have, and they were at games, and we got coverage. And, I know we'd go to Cookville and play a doubleheader and get home at 9 and 10 o'clock, and I'd work the stats up. And, it was even before answering machines. I'd call Dwayne like at 6 o'clock the next morning to give him my stats. And, that was win or lose. I didn't care,
Yeah.
If you're going to cover me when I win, I'm going to give you the same thing when I lose.
Yep.
You can't expect the good without giving the bad with it. And I was always real thankful. I thought that always helped promote our program and helped our attendance. And it's just a lot of good things when you get, a lot of this stuff I hadn't thought about in years.
Yeah.
Till the night it happened. And looking forward to this spring whenever it becomes official, I guess.
Yeah.
I should have brought Cheryl as a guest host because I know I've heard them. She's got tons of stories about the bus rides. Because she used to do stats for baseball for 2 or 3 years for Joey.
Cheryl was one of the few females that was ever around the baseball program. I did have a couple of them. I had a lot of good scorekeepers and managers. I mean, I tell you what, they make a big difference in any kind of program.
Yeah.
You better have some good managers because they can save you a whole lot of work.
I know when Darvin Gill came on board with me to do games, he was a huge asset because he had worked as your scorekeeper and really understood I learned a lot from him just based on him being around you in the baseball program. And you did have a lot of good people that helped with your program, I know, over the years. Coach, I know we've kept you here long enough.
One more thing I forgot.
Absolutely.
I would be amiss if I didn't thank Coach Odom. I mean, because I did this by myself for 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we were able to get a little money, and Coach Odom came back and became the first assistant and was really a great help. And, of course, followed me and continued a lot of the traditions, and he was a big help to our program. And certainly thank Scott for all he did.
He was a scrappy little player back in his day, too.
He was a good player.
Yeah, he really
went
was.
To Cumberland, wasn't very, he's another one of those didn't have a lot of ability, but boy, he was smart. Moved here and here from Florida, and had played year round ever since he's a little kid. And really knew the game and still does know the game. But he was an asset to the program.
Coach Joey Reeder's been our guest, again, part of the Legends Series or Old People Series, if you prefer.
There you go.
It's been such a joy to have you here, Coach. Anytime you want to come back, we'd love to have you.
Well, I don't mind talking.
We don't mind listening. Thank you so much. We'll be back. We're going to break down the new region classifications. We're going to announce the winner of this week's Good Health Family Clinic. Student Athlete of the Week, this is DC Blitz. We're presented by DeKalb County Insurance.
Teamwork, accountability, honesty, showing respect, dependability. These are all qualities that I began learning as an athlete growing up in DeKalb County. Hi, this is Tennessee Assistant Golf Coach Payne Denman. Whenever you're looking for a teammate that has your back, look no farther than my friend Grant James and the team at DeKalb County Insurance. They can help out with all your business, auto, home, life, or Medicare insurance needs. Give them a call today at 615-597-0660 or visit them at www.dekabinsurance.net. Tell them I sent you, and as always, go Vols.
When closing on a new home or piece of property, you want the process to be as smooth as possible. For almost 20 years, DeKalb Title LLC has been helping new property owners in Smithville and DeKalb County through that process promptly and efficiently. As your trusted title expert and closing company, they believe buying or selling real estate should be a joyous occasion, and their team does everything possible to keep it that way. DeKalb Title works to make sure your transaction gets to the closing table and your new property is secure for years to come. Let DeKalb Title help you close and protect your residential, commercial, or new construction transaction today. Call 615-597-2303 or visit them online at DeKalbTitle.com.
As first-time home buyers, navigating the real estate market can be both exciting and daunting. At Farmhouse Realty, we understand your unique needs and are dedicated to guiding you through the process with ease. With our extensive knowledge of DeKalb County and its surrounding areas, we can help you find your dream home or sell your existing property at the best possible price. Farmhouse Realty is committed to understanding your financial situation and goals, finding the perfect home that aligns with your lifestyle, negotiating the best terms for your purchase or sale, and being there for you every step of the way. Give us a call today at 615-597-FARM. That's 615-597-3276, or check out our listings at farmhouserealty.org. Farmhouse Realty. Let us help you achieve your real estate dreams.
Hey, Sam.
Who said that? Cheryl? What are you doing up there?
My bank always leaves me up in the air. I'm still waiting for an answer. Oh, darn birds.
Well, switch to First Bank. They have fast local decision makers and the latest banking products in digital.
Whew, what a relief. I'll call First Bank. When I was up there, I saw a branch near me.
First Bank never leaves you hanging. Bank local. Get more. Member FDIC.
Prompt, professional, and courteous healthcare services. That's what you find when you visit Good Health Family Clinic, 414 East Broad Street in Smithville. When you're on the go, you can't afford to be sick. The staff at Good Health Family Clinic is committed to getting you back on your feet and feeling better as soon as possible. They are locally owned, so you know you're being helped by people from right here at home, who you know and trust. Good Health Family Clinic accepts most insurances and is currently accepting new patients. Call to schedule an appointment, 615-597-4432. Good Health Family Clinic. Your family's good health is our mission.
Impact Physical Therapy is a direct access, cash pay physical therapy clinic, which means your care is provided one-on-one by a doctor of physical therapy, tailored to you and your needs. Whether it be injury, performance, or generalized health improvements, a plan is developed to improve your overall health, mobility, and strength safely and without injury. Another benefit of direct access is if injury does occur, you can immediately seek out care for an evaluation and treatment, potentially that day or the next day, without having to wait for a doctor appointment. Impact Physical Therapy, located at 656 West Broad Street in Smithville, inside Vitality Fit. For an appointment, call or text 615-464-7479.
Do you ever get tired of long waits at the corporate pharmacy? Well, let me introduce you to your hometown hero, Johnny's Drugs. Located at 516 West Main Street in Smithville, Johnny's Drugs is all about friendly service and efficiency. Our team knows your name and understands your needs because we're not just a pharmacy, we're your neighbors. Experience the warm, welcoming atmosphere that only a hometown pharmacy can provide. Johnny's Drugs, where friendly faces and efficient hometown service come together.
At Love-Cantrell Funeral Home, we understand that this life is a journey filled with highs and lows. Just as every game has its final whistle, so too does every life have its final moment. When that time comes, Love-Cantrell Funeral Home would love the opportunity to earn your trust. We provide compassionate care and professional services to fit your family's financial needs. Whether you're celebrating a life well lived or finding comfort in the time of sudden loss, we're here to support you every step of the way. Love-Cantrell Funeral Home has been a proud sponsor of all DeKalb County athletics for over 65 years. Love-Cantrell Funeral Home, where love is not only in our name, but also in our services.
Ranger brake offers made in the USA, assembled in the USA, and world-sourced brake lines so that they can meet all levels of market demand. That helps them maintain a good, better, and best approach to giving customers the options they need to succeed with ease. Ranger Brake has a second-to-none qualifying process which ensures each and every product is certified before it's actually sold in the USA. By providing qualified products that are tested in the USA, Ranger Brake is doing their part to keep it safe out on the roads. Ranger Brake, proud supporters of all DeKalb County athletics.
Smithville FBC is proud to support DC Blitz and all DeKalb sports. We have a place for you to call home on Sunday mornings and Wednesday night. We have nursery available. Pre-K through 5th graders are welcome to join Faith Kids. 6th through 12th graders are welcome to join FBC students, and everyone's outside of that is welcome to join all of our adult ministries. We meet Wednesday nights at 6, and Sunday morning small groups begin at 9 with worship at 10. Join us at Smithville FBC. It's a place to call home.
When it's time to attack those outdoor landscaping projects, you want to go into battle with the tools that will help you get the job done right the first time. After all, your time is precious. When you're ready to go on the offensive, let Southern Landscape Supply get you armed with the best landscaping tools on the market. Southern Landscape Supply is the home of Bad Boy mowers, tractors, UTVs, and handheld tools. Bad Boy, with their legendary reputation for strength, performance, and value. Hustler mowers, DeWalt, Red Max, and Echo handheld power tools, specialty turf equipment, and more. Plus, they offer the best parts and second-to-none customer service. Ready to attack your landscaping project? Prepare yourself with the best tools at the best value. Visit Southern Landscape Supply, 611 Rich Froning Way in Cookeville, or online at thesouthernlandscapesupply.com.
DC Blitz also sponsored by Kilgore's Restaurant. Stop by Kilgore's. Don't go today. They're closed. But they are open Monday through Friday with some of the best home cooking you'll find. John and Jen have been in business. They used to be out on Short Mountain Highway, I think, when they first started out. And they've, of course, a few years back moved into the building at the corner of 70 and Highway 83 or New Home Road or whatever you want to call it out there. But they've got great food, of course, some of the best chicken you're going to find. They got steaks. They've got a great meat and 3 or meat and 2 if you're not that hungry. I always get 3 because I'm always that hungry every Monday through Friday. So go by and check them out. You can call in your order before you even go out there, and you can pick it up at the drive-thru window, 215-8249. That's 615-215-8249. Kilgore's Restaurant, one of our brand new sponsors here on DC Blitz. Casey Midget joining us for the last segment. We got him out of work for a few minutes. We have to sneak him out of the office so he can come up here and hang out and talk some sports with us. Don't let me forget, by the way, we'll announce our Player of the Week coming up. Don't let me do like I always do and forget that. But before we get into realignment, I do want to have a basketball update here. And Kelly, we'll start with DeKalb West Schools, your Bulldogs. A day game yesterday, and I know some of your concern early in the season's been slow starts for your team, but I think it was 23 points, maybe out of the gate, 22-23 in the first quarter yesterday, and were they a little more fired up for the matinee game, or what happened?
I think it was being out of school. Well, I'll preface with this. Now, Smith County, I think, has maybe 3 8th graders. They're playing a lot of 5th and 6th graders, so they're not as strong. But we haven't been as good either. So it's pretty much. But they came out. They had a different look about them. Maybe I should try to get all our games at 12 o'clock. I'm pretty sure that's not going to go over with administration. But they had a different look about them yesterday. And one of the referees even he gave me a compliment in the way he said, "You had a lesson on sharing the ball." And he goes, "Your team looks really good today." Mm-hmm. And he had us the previous week, and he was just talking about, he's like, they were even like everybody played, but I can remember there's one play, Landon had the ball at the top of the key, and Christian Cripps made the best ball cut. Landon fed it to him, and he stopped, jump shot, went in, and I was like, that's what I've been trying to get y'all to do all year long. And so, and those were 2 7th graders. So, but Levi Cripps came out yesterday. He looked like a different kid. I'm so excited. I'm hoping that we have turned the corner from football, and he has now got his basketball legs. And because we've got 3 games this week, so he's gonna have to have them. So
I was gonna say, y'all gonna be busy this week. Going to Union Heights, I think, on Tuesday.
Well, we have a Monday game. We play. It was a late ad. We play Middle Tennessee. No, not Middle Tennessee. Mount Juliet Christian Academy. We play them on Monday at our place. Okay. And then we go to Union Heights on Tuesday, and then Trousdale or Satterfield Middle comes to us on Thursday.
That Monday game will not be on the schedule. We'll release tomorrow morning, by the way. Thanks, Kelly. But Mount Juliet Christian coming up on Monday. I know Lady Bulldogs, they're working hard. As we talked to Coach Chapman a few weeks ago, very young team, a lot of 5th graders playing. They're struggling, as young teams often do. But I want to talk a little bit about Kaylee Womack. As she's had some big games, and I think she, even in the loss yesterday, had 10 points. And what about this young lady? Is she one of the 8th graders?
She is one of our 8th graders. She's having to do a lot of the ball handling, but she's also our tallest person. So we're working. I kind of stepped in and helped Coach Chapman yesterday. I was helping with little things on defense that I was seeing as she was coaching the team. And it was just some things that you need an assistant coach to see and do and say. And we made some huge improvements yesterday. And so if we can just keep building on there, I see them becoming successful at maybe the end of the year. But they're a great group of girls, and they don't get mad. They get frustrated, but their frustration is just developmental frustration. I mean, 2 5th graders starting with 2 8th graders. One of the 8th graders didn't get to play a whole lot last year. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot on Kaylee, but she's handling it well, and she listens and she tries her best, and that's all we can ask for.
And she's really been a beacon for that team, and I know a leader on that team, being an 8th grader among so many young players there. And again, a lot of hard work. But again, as we talked with her, when you're playing a lot of 5th graders, when you compare a 5th grader to an 8th grader, that is a huge, huge difference. And I know that's very tough for this team. A lot of growing pains for them.
It is, and like I said, it's little things, developmental things. They're still trying to throw it over people because that's what they do. You know, when somebody's the same size, you just throw it over. Mm-hmm. Well, when they try to throw it over an 8th grader, 8th grader's taller. So we've been working on bounce passes, and she runs a 2-3 zone, and I was like, the purpose of a 2-3 zone is to pack it in, so quit leaving the middle. And so we finally figured that out yesterday. And so they made improvements. figuring out boxing out, like that's not run to the goal. It's find somebody and box out. Just little things, little bitty things. And I think they're going to put it together and be okay.
All right, head out Monday and see West Schools A. We'll play Mount Juliet Christian Academy at home at 6 o'clock. DeKalb Middle School, Casey, I think you just got finished telling us you've not got a chance to check out a game yet. Is that right? Not many?
Very few, only a couple.
Did you get to see the Avery Trace game Thursday night?
I did not. I was on the way back in from Montgomery that night, but I did hear about it, and it was the same script, unfortunately, it seemed like, from earlier in the week. Let me tell you, though, Avery Trace, you've played them, right?
I've seen them play 2 or 3 times.
They may be the state champion middle school team.
Yeah.
We've heard a lot of compliments about how good they are. Yeah.
Well, that was probably the game that they'd circled the whole season starting off, knowing that might get ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And, going into the fourth quarter, they were down 10, and that's kind of a win for the middle school team there. Avery Trace is the example of what we've been saying for a while in basketball. For our county, Avery Trace has basketball players.
Mm-hmm.
We have athletes. Athletes can beat you, but basketball players will win more than not in that sport. And it's just the way it is because it's such a team sport, and it's such a you just have to really hone in on that to really develop your game in basketball. And unfortunately, in our community, we just don't have that ability. We got a finite amount of players. West School even gets split off from that. So that cuts that in hurts the middle school. So it really hurts that. But I will say this: that team is getting better. That middle school team, by all accounts, is getting better. They started off in football mode and could not come out of it for a while. And my son's the leading example of that. But shots have got to start falling. Hayden Quarles needs to be their leading scorer by far every game, and he'll get there. And he's improved every game so far. The surprise, I think, I hate to say the word surprise, but a really good thing that's come from this team this year has been Keegan Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that kid, he has been lights out when he shoots. I think his problem is he's afraid to shoot. And so I know Coach Quarles has been working on with him. You got to take shots, man. You're hot. The hot person's got to take shots. So can't win if you don't score, and
can't score if you don't shoot.
That's exactly right. So the team's coming together. Unfortunately, it's coming into that tough part of the schedule right now, and they're going to get tested for a while. If they can pull out some wins against any of these teams, Avery Trace, all good. Upperman, all of those guys, Prescott. Those are quality wins right now. So we'll see.
And the middle school's in a lot of the same shape I am. We share our athletes so much, and I'm with you on athletes that our kids. I know the tall kid for Avery Trace. I think he only plays basketball.
He does, yep.
And I don't know if any of the others play football. I think a couple of them play football. But when you have that kid that just plays basketball, they're going to be right here. Well, we don't have a single kid on either team that just plays one sport. Most of ours play 2 to 3 sports, and you just can't spend. So, with football going as late as it did and they being as successful as they were, they haven't gotten turned over into basketball mode. And unfortunately, I hope they're ready to go for baseball. I think that'll come a little easier for them. It's a little bit easier transition. But basketball is a fine skill sport. Yep. And you're going from a rough skill sport to a fine skill sport, a fine motor skill sport. And I think that's the transition these boys
That's right.
are having a hard time adjusting to.
You got to have a little dog in you to play basketball, but you can't be a mauler like you are in football, and you got to walk that fine line.
You got to be able to hold an egg.
Yep.
And still fight.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I tell you something. With the Saints and Coach Quarles, we text back and forth, and he sends me stats. They've had 2 games that they lost in like the final seconds. One this week with Stone Memorial, 45-44. And that hurts,
Should have won that game.
Well, and I heard, if I'm not mistaken, is it the Stone game that like they had maybe like a 7-point lead.
Yep.
And they said it wasn't the same kid, but they maybe ran the same play, but 2 different kids drained threes from the corner, and it was just like that don't happen. That doesn't. That happens in college.
Yep.
That might happen at some of your higher level high school. That does not happen in junior high basketball. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Can't wait till they come here. That's the neat thing about this bunch of kids is I guarantee you they remember that. So I look forward to that game when they come to Smithville and play them.
DeKalb Middle will be back home Monday. They'll take on Upperman in another conference game. That starts at 6 o'clock with the girls' game, boys' action to follow. They'll travel to Prescott coming up on Thursday. And they've got a day game on Friday. So they play Thursday night and turn right back around and play at noon night game Thursday, then play Friday at noon at Warren County. The DeKalb County Tigers, by the way, they're in a play day over at Watertown today. They've got games, one's probably already done, matter of fact, and then another one coming up at 12 o'clock. Schedule, you can find that on DC Blitz if you're interested in catching that 12 o'clock game. Tigers and Lady Tigers open the season Tuesday. They'll play in a Hall of Fame game at Wilson Central. Next week is the Gordonsville Hall of Fame, and they'll have a couple of games over there. The boys will play Liberty Creek and Gordonsville. Girls will play East Robertson and Gordonsville. And again, we'll have a list of those games and the schedules on the DC Blitz Facebook page. And to get out, watch some basketball. Plenty of that going on this week. I want to talk about realignment. TSSAA announced the region realignments this week. In football, there's not going to be much change. The only change is Cumberland County is dropping out and going independent, so there's one less team in what's been a 7-team region. 4 teams go to the playoffs, but you still got to navigate the waters of Upperman, Macon County, White County, Stone. Livingston's getting better. It's going to be, again, Chris, as we go forward next year, a very, very tough region for the next 4 years. I think it's going to be tough top to bottom for the next 4 years, the way things have been playing out.
Oh, I agree 100%. And, Cumberland stepping out, and you mentioned it earlier, that takes away, unfortunately, what we consider around here a gimme win. You know, it's one you check the box when the season starts, and you may not even practice against that team as you're getting ready to play them that Friday. You practice for somebody else. But, yes, Livingston's going to be getting better. Livingston thought they were going to make strides this year, and in the DeKalb game, their quarterback gets hurt, which kind of sets them back, not just for that game, the mentality for the rest of the season.
Right.
Past couple of years, you've had 2 good teams not make the playoffs out of this region, and, as long as this group stays together, because you've got good coaching staffs across the board, talent's not going to decrease any.
Yeah.
And so you're going to continue to have that one team that's getting left out that's a pretty good team. And if Livingston keeps climbing, you're going to be looking at 2 really good teams not make the playoffs.
I think what something we forget about that will hurt DeKalb County in football is losing Crossville, but, who you going to replace that with?
Yeah.
And then you've got, I've been hearing that there may not be a Gordonsville matchup again for a while. So you take Gordonsville and you take Crossville out, you got to go probably into Nashville to replace those
We're
guys.
here in Smith County, maybe along that same line as well.
Yes,
and
Smith
Cannon's
County.
not wanted to play DeKalb for a couple of years. So you're getting those border rivalries. We call them gate games. So let's be honest, they're the natural border rivalries, but people come out and watch those. And like you say, where are you going to go to get an opponent? Chris, where are you going to get the gate from?
Yes, and I had the chance to talk with Coach Shaw, and I hope I'm not getting Coach Shaw in any trouble or whatever. I don't think he was speaking out of the side of his mouth. But, yeah, Smith County's thrown in there with Gordonsville. Cannon's not ready to step up and play DeKalb at this point, and I thought that might be something with the new coach that they would want to do. Mm-hmm. Had a good season, get that border town rivalry going again in that direction. So when you start thinking about, you're probably going to be able to keep Warren County. I don't know if you want to stretch to Cookeville, if you want to take on that challenge.
You may still try to schedule Cumberland County.
Yep, you may still along the way, but it's going to be real difficult with some of these schools that have that reputation of being a good playoff contender year in, year out, of being able to draw somebody into a home-and-home situation, and it's going to be tough.
Maybe you go to Salina. Salina's gotten better. Jackson County, I think, still kind of the Jackson County of old. But if those teams aren't willing to come on board, York, you got to go. You got to go towards Nashville. You're going to be into the Maplewoods, the White Houses, the Pearl Cones again. And I'm not sure that's the best route for us.
It reminds me of the Brentwood Academy before the division split between private and public. Brentwood Academy was a state champion year after year after year.
Yeah.
And local schools would not play, so they're going down to Alabama, they're going to Kentucky, they're going wherever for that football game, and they thought that this might help, that kind of situation. But again, you've got to have coaches on board that are willing to accept that phone call, as Coach Reeder was talking about earlier. If you don't want to play us, don't make that phone call. But it's a tough situation, and I feel for Coach Trapp.
So, again, very little change. One thing that stood out to me, DeKalb County had the fifth smallest enrollment among 4A teams with 767. There were three other teams that actually ranked lower than DeKalb, but they're playing up in 4A. That's Pearl Cone, Alcoa, and Kirby. They're all playing up, but among the ones classified 4A, DeKalb County is the fifth smallest. Of all the 4A schools, White County, the largest among all the 4As. They're right on that border, 1,042 students. That's a lot. That's a big difference when you're looking at about 250 students different, 230, 240, whatever it is.
It's a whole grade. That's almost a whole grade and a half.
Indeed, it is. And then you look, you got Stone Memorial 992, Macon 951, Upperman. This blows my mind. They used to be a 1A team. They're at 904 now enrollment at Upperman, and Livingston 825. So
that's open enrollment for you.
Yeah, indeed. So comparable. White County's the one to me that kind of stands out with a bigger number across the board. I know we're kind of short on time, so I want to jump into basketball, baseball, and softball, because here's where the big change comes in this new alignment. Basketball is going to move from District 7 3A over to District 8 3A. And when I say basketball, baseball, and softball. So gone are long-time rivals like Livingston Academy, Upperman, White County, Cumberland County Stone. They'll leave them behind. The new district will feature DeKalb County with Macon County, Murfreesboro Central Magnet, and Watertown. Kelly, I want to get your thoughts on this basketball-wise.
Central Magnet will now be your team. They have established their school. When they first came into the district, I think I was coaching in Smith County at that time. They weren't very good. Now they are a magnet school. But they're almost like a private school. Yeah. I mean, you have to apply to get into that school. So they have athletes. I mean, their cross-country team won, I think, didn't they win state this year? They have athletes. They have been winning. That's going to make a difference in basketball. Now, it's going to make a difference. They're going to be the team. I feel like they're going to be the team to beat. Now, Watertown, Wilson County also has open enrollment. So Watertown, you never know who they're going to have in there. Who is the other?
Macon County, which we are familiar.
Macon County we're familiar with. And then
that's it.
Then us.
4 teams.
So
everybody goes to region.
That would be all right then.
Everybody goes to region.
Everybody goes to region. I haven't seen Macon County in basketball.
They've been down girls wise. Of course, Coach White retired, and they had that great run with Gregory and that group that I believe won state or got close. Yeah. I think they won one year. They won state.
That's not a team I've seen. Even just playing around, I know some people that coach there. They've got some good coaches. I don't know if they're kind of like us, just don't have the kids. If you got to want to live in Macon County, I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere, and there's no quick way to get there. But I mean, it's a good. It's a great thing for baseball and softball. I mean, our our softball and baseball teams should be successful. I don't know. Watertown softball has really picked up. It's just going to be as tough as, of course, got Coach Purvis with baseball. So they're going to be, you've got a state championship coach right there with 2 or 3 different schools. I know their junior high program's pretty good. It's going to be, it's not going to be anything easier. It's just going to be fewer teams that that you've got to worry about. You can still go out and play your Livingston's in Cumberland County and get your good games as far as good competition in, but your district, I don't know. I think maybe for girls basketball to be good, but for
the thing with girls basketball, here's the caveat there. Yeah, you get a region berth. Guess who you get to see in the region? Upperman, Livingston, White County.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Watertown's junior high girls can go out and beat some high school teams right now.
Wow.
They're that good. And so you're going to contend with them. That's who you roll into next year. So they're for the next 4 years, their girls team is going to be, I feel like, the team to beat. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It'll be the first time that this district hasn't had Livingston. Livingston and DeKalb haven't been in, and York haven't been in a district. Gosh, that was from when I was a kid.
Long as I can remember, about.
Good riddance.
It's probably. I mean, it kind of is. It has to be a geographical thing because, I mean, for Macon County to have to go to York is, oh my gosh, that's like a 2-hour trip.
Well, think of Murfreesboro to
I looked that up earlier. Macon to Central Magna is going to be an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It seems like it's that far from me. It seems like it's 2 hours from here to get to
Lafayette. You can actually, it's a scientific fact, you can get to Afghanistan quicker than you can get to Lafayette. So,
And I still can't find the football field. I drive around aimlessly up there trying to find the football field.
Y'all probably do not know this, but their prefix in their phone number is 666. And I always used to kid. I'm like, there's a reason that it is. I was like, it's Macon County.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, we lost the 1.5 Macon County viewers that we had.
It's all right.
Hey, speaking of Macon County, I don't know if y'all talked about this or not. They're pretty proud this morning.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't mention that, but they went down to Baxter, and they didn't just beat Upperman. They whipped Upperman. It was 28-7 late, and Upperman got a...
Is that why you're wearing your blue today?
Yeah,
to support
I'm a big Macon County guy. Yeah.
It's either that or Livingston.
That Upperman team has got to be devastated because they only had one goal in mind, and that was to get back and win the Blue Cross Bowl, because last year they got off a slow start in that game against Pearl Cone in the Blue Cross Bowl. Then they I think they rallied late, made a game out of it. They had a lot of people back from that team. They've really got to be hurting this morning, but Macon County, that's not a team you sleep on. The Borders brothers they're for real. They both had over 100 yards rushing last night. I think one of them, might have been Gabe, had a 170-ish or something. So that's a team to worry about. Let's also mention this. White County goes down to Loudon, undefeated Loudon, and shuts them out 28-0 last night. So when you're looking at DeKalb County, outside looking in, we had a good football team, folks. We were in a very, very tough region this year.
Yep, definitely. Yep.
So anyway, we do wish our teams in our local area well. I always want to see the local teams do well as they move forward. And I guess it'll be White County and Macon County next week in the next round of the playoffs. Before we wrap up, and a lot of these didn't change a whole lot, I don't think, but golf was another one I wanted to touch base on in reclassification. Next year for DeKalb County Golf, they're going to drop to Single A. It'll be Region 8A, and it'll be DeKalb along with Cannon, Gordonsville, Macon, Murfreesboro, Central Magnet, Red Boiling Springs, Smith County, Watertown, Westmoreland. Westmoreland and maybe Red Boiling seem to be a little geographically, Red Boiling and Macon. But, Chris, from what you've seen from golf over the years, how much does this change for DeKalb County? And maybe the bigger question is, how much of a benefit is it moving down to that Single A classification?
Keep in mind, 15 or 20 years ago, dynamics changed quite a bit.
Right.
And, you've already talked about with Upperman where they were 15, 20 years ago, a 1A school, about the middle of that rung, and now where they are as a 4A school. So I was kind of just looking through this, and Cannon County in golf, and I went and watched, basically a practice because one of the teams they supposed to play didn't show up. Right now, with a lot of new players playing for Cannon, they're not very good at golf. Now, I think they will get better over time. Gordonsville didn't have a golf team. back then. So I don't think they've got a lot now. I could be wrong. Macon County always had 2, maybe 3 good players. They were competing for that district every year. They were, in the hunt for the region. If we were opposite Central Magnet, I know nothing about golf-wise. Soccer, when our kids were playing, they were really good at soccer. Golf, I have no idea. You might know more about at this point. Red Bull and Springs, horrible in golf. 15, 20 years ago, like I said, things changed.
Anybody play golf in Red Bull and Springs?
They
It's
do.
kind of like Smith County. They don't have a course. Smith
Y'all
County
are
doesn't
really
have a
just
course.
beating up on Macon County today.
It's their day.
You had Red Bull and Springs. Smith County would have some good players from time to time. When I first got there, the Cripps boys, and Smith County was pretty decent. Watertown, and they've, of course, closed their golf course.
Yeah.
They had a kid that was pretty good, but not very much. And then Westmoreland, they were horrible. So I think when you look at what DeKalb has, boys and girls-wise, coming back, Coach Pryor, if you don't sweep both, I'm calling for a firing.
Uh-oh.
Okay?
Uh-oh.
Now, anything can happen once you get to the region, but I'm looking at it. And Coach Pryor, Coach Dykus, if y'all can't sweep, there's got to be an investigation. Okay? And I may spearhead that. But, things look good for golf. High school golf for DeKalb County with what I'm looking at there. That looks really good.
If you're looking traditionally.
Yes, go back 15, 20
years. You never
years.
know who might move into.
Right. You don't know.
To wherever.
I tell you, it's funny, too, because believe it or not, tennis is in this same situation with golf. You're going to see a very changed tennis team this time. They're going to go in because they kind of got into that smaller division as well this time. They're going to do some damage this year, I'm telling you.
Now, on the other side of that, I do know that Cannons, they sent several players to the state tournament last year as individuals. They've been, that's where they're a little bit different compared to the golf team.
What they do, move in from Murfreesboro somewhere, Nashville?
I mean, look, you have to look at have you been to Cannon County and if you drive right on the edge where you're paying a property tax of this and a property tax of this, that's where they're getting them from. And then when you look at, you can have to go to Riverdale or Oakland where there's 2,000 or 3,000 kids, or you can go to Cannon, especially if you're a golf or tennis or something, and you can sweep, go. I mean.
Hey, you know what? Their football team's proof of it. I mean, we can make fun of them all we want to, but that football team was better this year. And something changed. So.
While we're talking, and of course it's just kind of out there, with the DTC connection that I have, 3 of the teams are now in the same region. And we talked about this off the air earlier. You've got Gordonsville and Smith County that are now in the same region, and Cannon County's in that same one. They've got Jackson County and Trousdale is going to make up that 4-2A.
That's going to be an interesting region. I was looking at that yesterday, and that's going to be a little bit different for sure. And Watertown, did they go up to 3A?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm not sure. I looked through a lot of them. I don't remember who all they were paired with, but that one stood out, the 4-2A, and certainly with our 4-4A that DeKalb County is involved in, again, little to no change there. But some other sports. Now, this doesn't take effect until next school year, so understand that. Like this spring, there will be no changes for baseball and all that. It'll be the same region district lineups that we have now. All right, our Good Health Family Clinic Student Athlete of the Week. We only had 2 nominations this week, and coaches sometimes are reluctant to, offer up nominations, and I get that mindset from time to time, but we do reach out to the coaches each week from all the sports that are going on currently in DeKalb County, and the 2 nominations were Taylon Taylor of the DeKalb Middle School Lady Saints, and I'd have to go back and look to which game it was, but Taylon actually single-handedly outscored their opponent in a win. Taylon had, let's see, I'm going to go back here and look. I believe it was Smith County. Matter of fact, they beat 45-13, and Taylon had 17, while Smith County came away with 13, so she was one of our nominees. The second was Maddox Pyburn, and Maddox had a career high with 20 points, and I believe it was a win. Was it Union Heights, that the DeKalb West School, in the consolation game of the Forks River Tournament? So 2 outstanding junior high basketball players Of course, we put it out for a vote. Our panel votes, and once all the votes were tallied up in a close one this week, Maddox Pyburn has been named the Good Health Family Clinic Student Athlete of the Week. And no, Kelly did not vote. We barred her from doing so.
I wasn't going to vote anyways.
She did pay us all, though.
But it was close. It's always close because a lot of the fans do get involved and vote. And I know our voting method is we've tried the whole poll thing, and it's too complicated for my simple mind. But what we've been doing seems to work is people message us on Facebook or email, and everybody gets one vote. We don't let you vote multiple times. I know a lot of these things out here do get to be kind of a popularity contest. You vote 500 times for one person, but that's not the way ours works. Everybody gets an opportunity to vote once. And like I said, we have a panel each week of our show. We don't let you know who is actually on the panel from week to week, but we ask them to vote as well. And we try to make it as fair as possible. And again, Maddox, our selection this week. And I think for the most part, the nail has been hit on the head every week. You know, it's hard to pick one over the other, and you got these two this week, and either one of them could have won in my book. But, you know, you got to pick somebody. And when you're voting, you look at the statistics and all that and take all that into consideration. And I still think our fans out there have done a fantastic job of keeping this thing, grounded and not making it, like we say, a popularity contest as sometimes it does get. All right, let's thank our sponsors before we wrap up today. DeKalb County Insurance, DeKalb Title, Farmhouse Realty, First Bank, Good Health Family Clinic, Impact Physical Therapy, Johnny's Drugs, Kilgore's Restaurant, Love-Cantrell Funeral Home, Ranger Break, Smithville First Baptist Church, Southern Landscape Supply. Want to thank our producers always, Daniel Leslie, for doing a fantastic job. And next week we'll be at the DeKalb County High School Gymnasium. We're going high school basketball heavy next week. We'll have Joey Agee, the DeKalb County boys basketball coach, and then Brandy Alley, the girls basketball coach, will join us. And again, we're trying to line it up to get Cora Kilgore of DeKalb County High School Tigerette softball and the latest commitment to Anderson College. We're hoping to have her. I'm getting choked up. That's what I get for staying up watching that fight. But we hope to have her.
Sound like Mike Tyson now.
Yeah, I know. I'm morphing. But we hope to have Cora on next week as well. Be sure to tune in. Hey, like us, follow us on Facebook. Be sure to follow the YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And we are also on Twitter. Are we on Instagram? Yeah, we're on Instagram. I can't remember all these things, and I'm the one that does all this stuff. My poor brain. I left all the equipment at home this morning. Golly. All right, final thoughts.
Well, on that note, we need, little advertisement with all those different logos on the bottom of our screen, so you won't have to go through that whole spiel.
Well, actually, Daniel's done a great job adding graphics. We've had the crawl. We're going to have latest sports news on that and the ticker, and we appreciate all the work he does putting that info out there for you to kind of keep up with. And, of course, we keep up to date as much as we can on the Blitz Facebook page with goings-on in DeKalb County sports. So that's why I say if you love local sports, follow the Blitz page. I want to thank all of our coaches, student athletes, and people that share stuff with us. We're just not able to physically get out there and cover a lot of games because we all work full-time jobs, but people have sent us photos and sent us information, and we couldn't cover all that without it. So we do thank you so much for all your contributions. All right, we've talked enough today. Let's do it again next Saturday morning for Casey, Coach, Kelly. I've got to get some kind of name that starts with a K. I'm Tom Duggan for our producer Daniel Leslie and for Grant James of DeKalb County Insurance. We'll see you next week on DC Blitz.